Hi, I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas. I've been off for a couple of weeks. Glad to be back. And I'm joined by the regulars. That's Jim and Ann Glenn from San Antonio, Texas. Jim is our big money man, and Ann is our beautiful personal trainer and nutritionist. And of course, we have Dr. Lee Osler, our dentist extraordinaire and author of 4 books on Redox, incredible books, and also, an incredible background in oral systemic health. You are his greatest fan. And tonight we have a fan favorite all the way from Thailand, Dr. Ray Dixon. Everybody loves hearing from him. His fund of knowledge is amazing. He has a wealth of experience and knowledge because he's a chiropractor and a naturopath and does integrative medicine and takes care of people, knows nutrition. You name it, he can help you with it. He is just incredible. So we always love having him on here because we learn so much. So Dr. Ray, welcome back. And it's great to see you. Come on in and give us a little bit of your background just for the new people on here. A lot of people have already know who you are and love you, but just for the newbies on here. And if you don't mind, maybe we should talk about what we're talking about tonight, which is redox signaling molecules. So would you like to give the disclaimer, Dr. Lee?
I can do that along the way, or would you like to do it, Lee?
I just want to jump in and say welcome. This is one of my favorite ones of all time because I love Dr. Ray. I don't know, he and I are kind of brothers from a different whatever.
I should have let you do the introduction because, yes, you guys have a bromance going on.
You did good. We are representing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Lee. Thank you, Dr. Maureen, Jim, and Ann. It's wonderful to be back. Yeah. I only been back in Thailand a couple of days, actually. Was over in Australia for the Envision ASEA event in the Gold Coast. So that was exciting. We could perhaps touch on a little bit of that as we go. My background, well, you've heard I'm a naturopath chiropractor. I became one because way back when I was 18, I'm 68 now, my asthma was cured by a naturopath. I had no idea what that was back then. My yoga teacher suggested I have treatment with her husband, who was a naturopath chiropractor, and the rest is history. I basically have never had it since. I got very excited about what natural healing and therapies were, so I became one. I did exactly what he did and then practiced with that gentleman actually for over 4 years. So it's been a great career. I essentially was semi-retiring to come and live with my beautiful Thai wife in Thailand. That was 2017 in July. I have a practice here, but I keep it quiet. I tell all my patients, don't tell anybody, but you still get the trickle-down effect. So I basically see a few most days. And what essentially brought me out of retirement in a more complete manner is actually this product, because I'd been told about it in probably around 2015, 2014 by Lorraine Bavard, 5 times heavyweight karate champion of the world, a gladiator, for those who remember that show, a good friend of mine, patient of mine. I'd known Lorraine many years, and it had dramatically helped a friend of hers with a very serious condition in the lymphatic system, life-threatening. And so she wanted me to know about it. I took it with a little grain of salt, I'm sad to say. I'd not heard of redox signaling molecules back then. I figured if it was anything of great significance, it would filter down through the normal channels, which is practitioner education, seminars, things like that. So I figured if it was anything of note, I might have heard about it already. I hadn't. So I kind of just pushed it aside, being busy in the clinic. Fast forward to 2018, July, Lorraine comes on holiday and stays with me right here in Phuket with her 2 lovely daughters. So I had more free time. I mean, when you're in practice, time is hard to find. So I had a lot more free time. I then started to look at the science. Dr. Gary Samuelson, atomic medical physicist who helped to stabilize these molecules. And then I read his book, Science of Healing Revealed. I started to go down that rabbit hole as Dr. Lee refers to it. And I'm thinking, wow, well, this is something. This is something that I was not aware of, the first discovery of redox signaling. So as a name, as a terminology, redox signaling begins in 1998. Of course, reductants, oxidants we knew before, but what was not known is the power of their ability to signal other cells, intimately involved with recognition of assault or stressors to the cell, and dealing with rectifying those assaults, which means correcting them. And should cells be sufficiently damaged, they need to be removed. I mean, this is known in medical science and immunology for a long, long time. What we didn't know is that redox signaling molecules per se were critical to that process, fundamental and critical. So that was unknown prior to 1998 and has fast unraveling ever since and continues to unravel. We might have hundreds of thousands of research papers now on PubMed.com or .gov, but the reality is the journey is still unraveling. The whole area of redox signaling and the myriad of genetic pathways which are affected by redox signaling is profound, and it's an exciting journey that we are involved in a product that has been able to stabilise some of the essential ones that seem to participate in the greater signalling. Thereby the redoxome, as we collectively call it, is regulating the genome, the DNA and the genes, and the rest is history downstream from there because they regulate everything else. And essentially, you are cells, you're up to 100 trillion. We have debates on 75 trillion or 100 trillion. I just say you'll lose track of the zeros anyway. 20 billion die every day, get replaced. If you're sick, you have sick cells. That's it. If you're healthy, you have healthy cells. Keeping it simple. There's no disease without sick cells. It's just the collective numbers, how they're affected, then the label comes on the disease process. And essentially we're onto something here which is pretty profound because it has a universal effect because all cells run on redox, essentially. So it doesn't matter if it's an hepatocyte cell of your liver or a cardiac myocyte in your heart or neurons or neuroglia of the brain, they all run on redox signaling molecules. So the profound part of this to me, and it kind of fulfills something I was looking for my entire life, is that it's universal. It's not pigeonholed to some specific cells. They all run on redox signaling. And so therefore, when we get the optimum numbers and the optimum balance, critical things take place regarding those cells' ability to rejuvenate, regenerate, and overcome those stressors or disorders which are happening within those cells. And that's why we have a myriad of reactions positively to when people take the product. It's just vast. I gave up looking in my practice life for what I've often referred to as the Holy Grail, that universal product, because I never found one, and I looked for over 40 years. So there is no one herb or one nutritional component that has such a myriad of effects because they're downstream. So they'll affect certain pharmacological pathways positively or other ones, whether it's an essential oil or it's a herb or it's a nutrient. But there was nothing we've ever known that goes right up to the coalface, the pinnacle, that most fundamental level that affects the dimensions between energy and matter at all levels. This is it.
Kind of like the missing link, really. You call it the Holy Grail. It's like the missing link. Yeah, absolutely. It almost, when I first started, that was 11 years ago, we didn't know very much. We have a lot more science to back up what we have our hands on now, but it almost seemed like a panacea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it should be said, the disclaimer that Maureen referred to before, or Jim, is that ASEA do not claim to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. They simply empower the body. They are replenishing the body with what it needs to heal itself. We need to put it in that perspective for very specific reasons. because it was registered as a food product in terms of for internal use in most markets of the world. It's registered the gel for external use in most markets of the world as a cosmetic. That's fine. We personally don't mind the labels. It just sometimes gets confusing for people to appreciate the power of this when we don't make those specific claims. But ladies and gentlemen, we can't make those specific claims because of law and regulations over those categories. They're very tightly controlled in law by FDAs, TGAs, what you can say and not say. That doesn't mean it doesn't have the ability to do what we're sharing with you. It most certainly does. We see it every day. I see more what I would call miraculous results than I ever saw in my life. And I'm seeing those in the space of 5 to 6 years after having practiced herbal medicine, homeopathy, nutritional medicine for more than 40 years. I see far more amazing results now with this product, so much so that some of my team wonder why I don't always give the extra advice, nutritionally, dietary-wise, herbal-wise, because they know I have that knowledge and they give me more, give me more. but I always say, no, Redox first. Redox is so fundamental. I want that balance corrected first. Then I'll do fine-tuning and tweaking if needs be. I often don't, but sometimes we still do. I mean, we still need the materials, ladies and gentlemen. You still need to have the healthy lifestyle described in Healthy Matters of Dr. Lee. You know, we need clean air, we need clean water, we need up to 50 essential nutrients. This has not changed. The body, the cells need those materials to do their work. But guess what drives all of that? What runs it all is Redox. So as far as I'm concerned, correct those fundamentals first, then fine-tune beyond that, unless it's something starkly obvious, like you're proven to be vitamin D deficient or vitamin C deficient, then get them immediately. The other thing perhaps we need to just make clear is if we make them, and we make these redox molecules in the mitochondria of all cells naturally, it should be appreciated you are alive because of redox signaling molecules. If you did not have redox signaling molecules, you would be dead, as would a plant, as would animal. All cells run on redox or by the pathways of redox signaling. The issue for humans and others is that we peak at puberty. Healthy puberty appears to be the time that mitochondrial density and efficiency are optimized or optimal, which means we are making that maximum level of redox molecules in our lives that we've ever made. Thereafter, it's all downhill. 1% per year is the estimated average of decline. Obviously, if you live a healthier lifestyle, you are affecting the efficiency of your redoxome. If you're exercising, you have more mitochondria. So a lot of the benefits of exercise are coming from those extra redox signaling molecules coming from the extra laid down mitochondria to produce energy and producing redox signaling molecules as a consequence of making the energy ATP. So, you know, it's an interesting phenomenon that we seem to peak at healthy puberty. It's downhill from there, slower for some, faster for others. Remember, some are faster than 1% per year. They're the ones that get very ill and very sick younger. And what this is doing, it's a bio-replenishment formula, a supplement, if you prefer that word, to replenish the imbalance and those deficiencies. And that's why the magic happens.
Hey, Ray.
I love that. Oh, sorry, Lee. I was just going to say that a couple of people in the chat were talking about bioreplenishment or replenishment. It's a perfect description. So thank you. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, can I have you go back? As you were talking there, what came to my mind was people's expectations. You know, everybody has this idea, well, that because I think we have a little bit of a drug mindset in the world.
Definitely.
We think that way. I mean, it's natural, and I don't necessarily fault people, but flipping that switch in the brain to think differently, that this is not the same. Could you address the concept of how you see it regarding expectations?
Well, we need to educate people's expectations regarding the whole healing journey. I mean, the pathway into sickness is a journey, and it takes time. And in many cases, it takes many years before a particular disease manifests. That slippery slope is a slow road to China in many cases. Well, the reverse of that is the same. Warren's laughing at me. The reverse of that is the same regarding the healing process. Obviously, if you optimize what the body needs to heal itself, you will accelerate that journey, which is why we might have detoxification processes in some cases. So expectations need to be set around an understanding of what is healing. Well, if a lot more damage has occurred to cells in some cases, and with age that usually is the case, this is how we kind of make assessments on how much people need. How old are they? Remember, 1% per year. And how sick are they? These are the first two things I ask anyone that's requesting an understanding of how much do I need. It's first, how old are you and how sick are you? Tell me your history. And then very quickly, based on experience between all of us, we get these ideas as to approximately where that person's sweet spot is going to land. Most begin on the 2 cups, what a seer calls a cup. Remember, this is the cup. This is the seer cup. This is 2 ounces for my US friends and 60 ml for everybody else. So most begin on 2 of those a day, 4 ounces, 240 ml. But what I find, and I'd like to hear what Maureen or Jim and Anne and Lee think, I find most people seem to have a lot more powerful effects and slightly quicker. I'll get back to the expectations in time in a moment, Lee. Slightly quicker if they hit the 4 cups a day. So much so that it's became known in the US as the magic 8, meaning 8 ounces. But I also have those who I deem older and sicker where we take more. When I teach it, I say to people, look, your range is 2 of those a day to 16 of those a day. And 16 of those a day is the bottle. So who would I put on the bottle? It's got to be some pretty challenging situation. I mean, seriously challenging, either mentally, you know what I mean, with memory issues, or serious rogue cell manifestations in the body anywhere. That's when I talk those levels. Most I find 4 to 6 is where their miracle, I call it their miracle, where their miracle will become obvious to them. Now, expectations on time. Before I was ever involved in redox signaling, just in the natural healing world, I used to say to my patients all the time, do not judge this treatment, nutritional, herbal, homeopathic, in a month. I used to say you need to give it 3 to 4 months to have a reasonable appreciation that it's doing something for you. This came out of my mouth since I was 22 years of age. I used to teach that because healing takes time. This is quicker. Why? Because it's more powerful, in my view. That's why I see more of those miracles happening, because it is, in fact, that represents its power. You know, how quickly and how impacting it is a clear representation of how potent it is to allow the body to heal itself. I've never seen anything work as consistently as this. I've seen some powerful effects over my practice life, not as many, but I've seen them. But in terms of its consistency to give people obvious results, I've never found anything else, and certainly not as quick. But quick means 3 to 4 months for 80, 90% of people. Consistent use to know it's working. You can't assess it on a week to a 1 month. We all have experienced people who have had dramatic results in a month, but you can't count on it. You may or may not remember, Lee, I was with you not long ago co-hosting, and I mentioned a person who came here, it's about 5 weeks ago. Now, that's a remarkable result quickly, but we can't expect that for everyone. And there's no 2 people alike. I think it's really important to appreciate, unless you have an identical twin with an identical husband, with the identical number of children, and eating an identical diet, there is no one like you. So it doesn't matter your migraine history or your disease history, they're not all one and the same. That is an incorrect medical model when we're talking about how you individually respond to this most potent, powerful, natural, native healing product that we're putting into the human body. So everyone is a little different. And your disturbed cellular functions are layered internally. And they're layered in degrees of damage that they're causing to you. The inner doctor, as Dr. Lee refers to, appears to have wisdom on this that we don't. And that is, it will target some of those more serious disturbing conditions within you that you may not even know are there before other issues. And that's why we see such remarkable variations in what happens and when it happens, because no two of us are alike.
Hey, Lee, can you maybe go ahead and jump in and explain why we continually have to do the disclaimer? That we're a dietary supplement. We're made from salt water. Can you just kind of go, and then maybe I'm asking too many things, but why it always works and it cannot not work? Can you, maybe you or Maureen, or again, Dr. Ray, deal with that? Lee?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. This, the history of this as a supplement is the pivotal point here. And that is, as a supplement, we're regulated, not just here in this country, in the United States, but, almost in every country around the world, is regulated to not speak about, to not make medical claims, as Dr. Ray just said, and to not speak about its ability to cure, diagnose, or treat. And that's just a regulatory function from the FDA and the FCC and so forth. So we comply with that the best that we can, and we speak about this as cellular health. And I love that response, Ray, with regards to expectations, because if I were to take aspirin, for example, for something, I would have an expectation that it's going to respond, shortly. But that doesn't deal with the reasons I have those problems, that have been long in duration in creating the pathology or the condition. And so that's why we speak in this code language, as it were. We're and we can't really go too deep the other way, because I could bore a lot of people to tears by speaking in. Dr. Ray and I would be loving the conversation,
Geeking out.
but yeah, we'd be geeking out for sure. But the important part is to know that it is grounded in science. That's why it always works. It can't not work at a cellular level and these are the rules of the cell. I write about that. I speak about that. These are rules. This is like gravity, physics, biophysics, whatever. You produce a certain condition in the cell, and there's things that automatically have to happen, because this is how electrons move when they're faced with electrostatic forces and with oxidation and so on and so forth. This is simply how proteins work. And that's what regulates DNA, and that's what stipulates how we heal. And so we're really grateful that we have this supplement that has this capacity. Dr. Ray spoke earlier about, herbs and, other things from what we call the natural world of healing. They work on these same principles. Anything that makes us healthy is working on these same redox pathways. But they all work through secondary means. We call them secondary messengers or metabolites. They have an indirect effect. And one of the nice things that ASEA enjoys is that it has a direct route to the cellular biochemistry. And so that's why we call this bioidentical. So, Maureen, do you want to chip in there?
Yeah. We talk, it's interesting because we talk about, and Dr. Ray alluded to some of this, some of the things that we do that we know make people healthier and help with increasing our mitochondria, things like high intensity interval training, prolonged fasting, cold plunges, things like this. And all of these things help us to, increase our mitochondria and increase that ATP, therefore increasing our redox or balancing out our redoxome. Amazing, isn't it, that we can just drink something? I mean, I love a good cold plunge, but you know, it's just a lot easier. You know, people,
Good call.
Yourself.
I love it.
people understand that some of that stuff is going to help them be healthier, and they don't actually get into the nitty gritty of the science behind it. You know, we all understand it, but you know, it's amazing that we have something like you're saying that's a bioidentical bioreplenishment agent that we can take and we can nourish our cells. We can rebalance the redoxome, and our cells can get to work. It's just incredible.
You know, something Dr. Ray said, which I thought was fascinating. Maureen, I want you to respond to this, please. But it's the expectation into our human journey. Did you have any of that when you were in medical school, Maureen? On what we should be doing to take care? We don't learn any of this anywhere. I mean, Anne learned it from life's experiences, you know, but not many people have. They don't teach that in medical school here in the States, do they?
Well, yeah. I went to medical school a long time ago. I know I look much younger, like Doogie Howser or something. But no, back when I went, we had one day of nutritional training. And it's funny because they had us follow our own diet. And so we had to analyze that for how much protein, fat, whatever. And that was my first year. And if you know anything about medical school, my first year we were cutting up cadavers. So the only thing, I was very skinny back then, which is hard to believe because all I would eat my first year were glazed donuts because they didn't look like any body part. So when it came time to doing my analysis of my diet, I mean, it was horrific. And in fact, what was funny is my best friend, who is now like an ICU doctor over a bunch, he had forgotten to bring his. So I gave him my diet and he came and he was like, oh my God, I'm anemic and I'm malnutrition. I was like, give me that. That's my diet, not yours. You know, you're probably fine. But anyway, that was our one day of nutritional training. And they gave us a book called the Scope Book of Nutrition that showed things like changes in the tongue, you know, with different vitamin deficiencies or scurvy or whatnot. But you know what? Back then, we took an entire year of pharmacology. We had the same education as the pharmacy students. So unbelievable. So, you know, the fact that like Dr. Ray with his background knows so much and Anne knows so much about nutrition, I've had to get mine on the fly, you know, because now we know, and most physicians know, that nutrition is huge. But no, that wasn't anything that we really talk about. It's very, very heavy into the pharmacological stuff.
Right.
Well, on that note, actually, Maureen, I'm 68. I forget how old you are, but I remember when I was studying nutritional and herbal medicine, and I entered naturopathic college in 1974. And as I was graduating 4 years later and practicing, the retort from my patients as they attended was always, you know, they'd come to see me with something that wasn't responding medically. So they pretty much, I was the last resort. They didn't come to naturopaths back then as a first resort. You were the last resort. And they used to say, well, as soon as I would ask them about their diet, the first thing they would say is, well, my doctor said my diet's got nothing to do with it. That was MD doctors, of course. And I said, right, well, but your doctor didn't fix you. That's why you're here. And because, again, Lee, that's turning that thinking around regarding expectations. So they're still trying to put me back into the medical model. Well, no, I was dealing more with causes. And it was a common refrain from the medical fraternity back in the 80s that you don't need to take supplements. They simply give you expensive urine. I've lost count of how many times I would have heard those comments back in the 80s, less in the 90s, and never since. Never since. You won't hear from I don't hear from medical doctors anymore saying nutrition's irrelevant. Your diet is irrelevant. That's all changed now.
Oh, totally. But to be fair, we did go through a period where everybody was taking a multivitamin and they were finding them unchanged in the sewer system. So what people were taking wasn't even bioavailable, you know.
Yeah.
take ours, and ours are, ours are whole food. So that's why our company, came up with them because most people don't take the time, or they don't know what we know. And in fact, even for me and maybe you want to speak to this, maybe we want to talk a little bit about the Via line. Because when they first came out with it, and this is based on exactly, whoops, sorry, my phone fell down. Exactly what you're teaching. The more good you do for your body, the bigger impact you have with the redox cells. And so, I had been telling people, even though we didn't really kind of understand all of the science then, I was like, look, if you're just on the sofa with a Big Mac in one hand and a clicker in the other, these molecules might be working hard just to keep you alive. But if you will get up and exercise and do the redox lifestyle, you're going to get a much bigger bang for your buck. And so when they came out with the Via line, I am a supplement snob, and I'm sure you are, Anne is, Dr. Lee, I'm sure you are as well. And I thought, okay, these are for the gummy bear people, the ones who are getting their stuff, Flintstones or gummies or whatever at the big box places. And I thought, but I was blown away by the quality of what they were putting into that Via line, and actually noticed energy and a benefit to taking those, even though I had been on the redox molecules for a few years at that point. So I'd love for you to speak to that, Dr. Ray. Tell us what you think.
I will, but can I, for the benefit of everyone listening, and particularly new people, just begin with the redox and then move into the nutrition, the materials.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the ASEA liquid supplement. So this is what's deemed to be the flagship of the company, because we take it orally predominantly. We swish it around the mouth, no metal, only in plastic or glass. Then we swallow after 20 to 30 seconds. And that's what we were referring to before, taken by the ASEA cup. So it's the flagship product because we're replenishing internally. Yes, we can put some drops in the eyes if you have an eye issue, or a few drops in the ear if you have an ear issue. But predominantly it's designed to be taken internally. The reason we hold that in the mouth is because masses of these molecules will absorb straight through the mucous membranes of the mouth. Secondarily, as a lot of things were happening to people and they were spraying the liquid on their skin and hair and scalp, the company made the second premium, if you like, redox signaling molecule gel to be applied externally. Jim's got the liquid in there, which you can spray, but that is the liquid. So these are the two what I call flagship products. And when people ask me, well, which one do I take? I say, well, how long's a piece of string? It's like, they're both beneficial, and they're two different delivery systems. So I'm always going to use both no matter what. Obviously, you can target an area with this. So you can target your knee if it's uncomfortable. You can target a skin irritation. You can target, but your body will do the work. It will take what you supply it, and it will go to work on that priority scale that I mentioned before. There are only two other products before we get to the Via and nutritional range that Maureen was talking about, which have redox signaling molecules in them, and that's these two. So this is an intensive advanced serum or concentrate, 2 times stronger than the Reno 28 gel, approximately. It's pretty powerful. I would use this on something particularly nasty, or if you really want to get rid of those really bad wrinkles and you want to target those a little bit more, or any other skin irritation that you might deem is more concerning. Now, the clay mask is the latest add-on as a redox signaling molecule containing product. And that's designed obviously for it's seen more as a benefit for our appearance. But we're also finding that because it cleans impurities profoundly for wherever you apply it, it can actually be put on other areas of your body, not just your face, for your good looks, if you choose to do that, and then layer afterwards the redox signaling molecule Reno 28 gel, and you'll get an even better effect. So they are the redox products of ASEA. Beyond that, what Maureen was just talking about is the importance of those materials that we mentioned before, those nutrients, those nutritional components. Now, macronutrition is not micro. Macro is when we talk about proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Predominantly when we take supplements, we're not predominantly supplying macronutrition. That should come from your diet. And of course, your diet also contains a lot of micronutrients. The issue in our time is that there is a considerable amount of depletion due to the way foods are made, manufactured, grown. And then because of those methods, the nutritional density is lower than it's probably ever been in many cases. Add on to that in many cases, they're subject to adverse chemicals that the human body was not designed to be exposed to. And I'm talking about insecticides and pesticides and other chemical insults which are coming in the food chain or the water chain or the air chain you're breathing in. When I go to Bangkok every month, I always use that as an example when I present at ASEA. You know, we're breathing in polluted cities a lot of toxins as well. They increase your demand for nutrition. So essentially, you've got a double whammy. You're getting less in your diet, and even less if you have a junk food diet. But even a healthier diet, it's questionable as to whether you're getting, and in fact, it's pretty much proven that even then you're not getting adequate amounts of nutrition. So if you're getting less, but the body needs more to deal with those stressors. So stressor is anything that challenges cellular function. It's not just about mental stress. It's emotional, mental, physical. Any insult to the cell is a stressor. So all those added layering of chemicals the human body was not designed to have to deal with are adding extra layers of stress to the cell. So we've got less nutrition, need more. And this is exactly why cellular health companies like ASEA will make available their best nutritional delivery systems to provide the body with those extra nutrients that it needs. The beauty of ASEA is you've got the flagship Redox product, Redox signaling molecules. No other company has that. So it's unique to ASEA. You can't get that anywhere else. All the other supplements act downstream, as Dr. Lee explains it, and I'll use that expression. They all act downstream from there. But if you can coordinate the delivery of some of these really important nutritionals with the redox molecules, then your results will escalate dramatically. And the VIA range that Maureen was referring to, for example, we have a source. I haven't got mine in front of me. A source product, which is, you know, a superfood derived essential form of delivering nutrients. You know, I've watched this evolution through my life as a naturopath. Way back in the 80s, you know, lots of supplements would be just manufactured products, not food necessarily derived, chemically manufactured, synthetics, vitamins, and minerals in some cases. So, you know, the evolution has been as more wisdom has been gained and more science information has come on board, is that we should mimic, and funny about that, we should mimic what Mother Nature does. So get back to Mother Nature, get back to how the human body evolved on this planet and what it was exposed to and what it used to get, and therefore use those sources of nutrients and nutrition. That's exactly what is in the VIA range of nutritionals. And so there's the omega product. You know, I think any person who's educated in nutrition will be taking omega products. I do. I take the ASEA ones. Again, problem of our time with the microbiome, we need good pre-probiotic formulas, and they're not all one and the same. You need a good one. We have that with Biome. And once you've got kind of those fundamentals addressed, get your lifestyle right, get your redox. Redox lifestyle means healthy lifestyle. That's all a redox lifestyle means. It means a healthy lifestyle, and if you can top up with the real redox signaling molecules, then you're on the best product journey that you could possibly be on in this world. And then beyond those fundamentals, there are products that we have. I know one's your favourite, Maureen, so I'll let you talk about that one, which add an extra layer of stress resilience. Which one's that one, Maureen? Got the lion.
Are you talking about Life Max, the orange one?
That's it.
Yes,
That's
I love Life Max. Thank you, Jim. Yes. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, talk about Life Max.
Life Max is amazing. It was made for longevity and vitality. So it hits two different groups, our athletic population and our aging population. There are things in there that are like traditional Chinese medicine ingredients. Some of them are going to be pretty familiar: green tea extract, turmeric, broccoli seed extract, things like that. And then some are going to be a little bit more exotic, if you will. There's 5 different strains of medicinal mushrooms in there that target all sorts of things. There's botucola and astragalus in there that have all sorts of properties to them, including increasing collagen. This just aside, but they increase collagen production of hyaluronic acid in your skin. So they help with anti-aging as well as other health benefits. So they're going to target the diseases of aging. Things like rogue cells that Dr. Ray was talking about, vision, changes in cognition, changes in blood pressure, blood sugar, cardiac. It's got a list of things in there. It's just an amazing, amazing product. It's so elegant, and I was so blown away by how they pulled all of these different ingredients together to make something that is this powerful. And I will tell you, anybody in my family who gets a bad diagnosis, I immediately make sure that they are on this product, as well as a good amount of our Redox. So thank you, Dr. Ray. I love them all, but that is my favorite.
I knew you'd like to speak to that one. It's a great product too. We used to refer to those in the natural medicine field as the adaptogenic stress resilience products, like ginseng, for example, and gotukola and astragalus. You just mentioned those there in this particular product. Ginseng's not, but so wonderful. Now, if we can just,
Dr. Ray, am I not saying it right, or are you just saying it with your Australian accent? I was calling it astragalus, but it sounded so much better out of your mouth. Astragalus?
Yes. Well, you Americans have a way with words, but astragalus is what I always knew it as. Gotukola is the other one. We could go on with echinacea and ginseng, and we could go on forever. But I'm sure the American accents and pronunciations, they're rather popular in Thailand. They follow American English over here, like condominium instead of an apartment. But you know how it goes. So now, if we can just complete the story a little bit from ASEA. So ASEA is a cellular health company. I've got the only company that has the Redox signaling molecule product. So that's the first thing. The flagships, profound. That's what brought me out of retirement. I've had nutritionals my whole life with good companies and herbal things my whole life, no problem. They then added those fundamental supplements to your diet, just to give you a bit more insurance. And then they came up with a cell performance. It's referred to as cell performance line. Now, I just want to stop and pause for a moment and say, everything we're talking about is about cell performance. Everything we're talking about is about healthy cellular function and cell performance. It's just the way things are named or expressed. So the cell performance range, which includes energy, mind, mood, and radiance, are nutritionals. So they're nutritionals. And in some cases, they will have herbal or other nutraceuticals as part of their makeup. But what are they for? Well, they're named according to what the target effect is in most cases. So the energy, for example, is targeting giving you more energy. Now, energy, you know when you have it, you know when you don't have it, but there's no test for it. There's no test that says my energy right now is at 99 out of 100 or it's at 10 out of 100. There's no test for energy. but it's one of the most fundamental things that you know when you've got it. And it is fundamental to well-being. We all know what well-being means. You must have plenty of energy. And if you haven't, you ain't got well-being. And you will know you haven't got well-being. So that particular cell performance energy line is to drive you to the maximum level, naturally again, nutritionally again, herbally again, to the maximum sustainable energy levels that fit within a healthy lifestyle day. Mood was more designed around one particular mood, and that is to sort of de-stress, to kind of get you to calm down, de-stress. You know, stressing mentally and emotionally now depletes energy substantially. You know, get upset and see how your energy crashes in seconds to minutes. In seconds to minutes, you can feel wiped out from having been energetic. It's very, very depleting. So the mood is a very chilling out, calming. If you tend to be one of those people that gets too anxious, you worry, you've got some fears plaguing you a little, chill down with the mood. It's fantastic for that. Mind, one of my favorites, is all about mind, concentration. You know, the mind is an extraordinarily powerful tool, both our mind and using the mind, to focus and learn and memorize. So the mind is designed as a product, a cell performance product. These come in little satchels, powders, all natural, that you just put in water. And that one's particularly aimed at targeting concentration. So most of us have issues in some of these areas. You'll know which one is the more likely you might use more, but they're all available to use whenever you feel like it on that basis. Radiance is about collagen, skin, hair, and nails in particular, to get that extra benefit in that regard. Wonderful product too. So that completes, as I recollect, unless you guys remember something I don't, the range available from ASEA as a company. And is there any comments you guys want to make further on that? Because I think we should also mention why ASEA do certain studies and not others.
Well, yeah, I wanted to interject. I was thinking about the very beginning when you shared about your condition you had way back when someone said, go see a naturopath. And unfortunately, you know, Western medicine, they're not encouraging, maybe there's an alternative. So it's neat that you saw that so early. And what I like about redox signaling, the liquid and the gel, is you don't have to be concerned giving it to somebody because it's non-toxic. And you can't say that about other things that have a quantity that might be too much. I mean, you can give it to a kid, give it to a baby, give it to a dog, and not have to be concerned with toxicity. So that right there is what is amazing, that you cannot say in nutrition. You can say that with herbs or vitamins being, you can have too much of, let's say, magnesium. So it's pretty neat how that alone, you never have to be concerned a conversation, you know, is it compatible with my this such and such that I'm prescribed? Your body already has it. You're just now getting more of it. So I just think that's the neatest. I'm glad we brought up the nutrition. I mean, we get 100% absorption. And I'm thinking of my 86-year-old dad that was able to start 5 of the nutrition products, our nutraceutical and all but the radiance he focuses on every day of the cell performance. And I watched it in less than 8 weeks of usage. And he's only done a little bit of the redox signaling and the renew. I just can't get over that hump on that product, the liquid. But just watching him change on our nutraceuticals, hands down, at his age and the condition he was in when I started helping take care of him, I just can't get over the radical improvements just by putting that extra in your lifestyle. Because you don't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to have my superfoods today. You don't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to go run over to Trader Joe's and know exactly what to go buy. Here, we got it all in those 4 capsules, you know, source, and it's giving pretty much everything people are lacking in their typical Western diet. So I just think that's just so amazing how the products, and you were only able to tip a little bit on cell performance, but if people really study the ingredients and recognize the other things that it works on, whether it's blood sugar, whether it's hormones, your sleep, you start putting that in, and then the Redox makes all that work better. You're gonna see even more changes.
Staying healthy is not. What's the best way to term this, guys? Staying healthy is not cheap.
Well, it's cheaper than being
don't
sick.
Wait until you have a health issue. I think Maureen, someone said it. Don't wait till you get the diagnosis to get healthy. How do we convey this to the world, guys?
It's a
That if you
paradigm
want to stay healthy,
Paradigm.
shift.
Well, but why does it always seem to take someone having their crisis? They go to their doctor, they have the boo-boo, they pass out, hopefully they survive. It's just, we're people, and I know that. And that's why we do this show, is paying it forward, having guys like Dr. Ray and Lee and Maureen and us it's our stories. People, but it's not cheap to stay healthy. And you got to give the body what the body was designed to receive to keep you healthy. If you want to keep going to McDonald's and going all the crap route, you're going to have a crappy life. It's that simple.
Yeah, but it's still cheaper than where Jim was in 2015 with very expensive copays through Blue Cross Blue Shield. And then you add, missing work because he, all these surgeries and, in his line of work, stockbroking, you don't make money if you're laying in bed in recovery for back surgeries that didn't work.
Yeah.
And, just the whole cascade of the side effects and all these things he had in his mind, he had to have them all, but it didn't make his lifestyle any better. And now today, at 66, he's med free, and we live, we ski and hike and we have fun. And you couldn't say that back in 2015. So to me, it's cheaper the way we are today than back in 2015.
But it's an education process. It goes back to what Ray said.
Mm-hmm.
We have to set expectations into understanding how your freaking body works, and give what it takes. You need to give it what it needs to keep you healthy. Until you're not. I always call people until people. You don't need it until you do. You don't think about your health until you don't have it.
Let's just not wait that long. So Ray had his hand with some.
We got like 5 minutes.
Life costs money. So all your life costs money. It doesn't matter if it's the roof over your head, the holiday you want next week, the car you drive. We all determine where we would like to invest our money. We determine that value. And we determine those choices. What you're saying is typical, unfortunately, and it's about education, as Maureen said. It's been a typical journey for a long time that people just do what they do and they have short-term pleasures and enjoyments with donuts, ice cream, or whatever, until the body tells them, I'm sorry, now you're paying the consequences and you've got diabetes and heart problems and everything else. They don't pay any attention generally to those issues until they have them. And then the education that most people have received is then you go to the doctor and get the drugs to manage that condition without changing the lifestyle pretty much. Well, that's where the causes were. So that whole process of education has shifted, interestingly, a lot in certain circles. Now, most people that will be on this call that already are using and sharing supplements and taking ASEA, they're on that side of the fence. They've had that education. They've seen the results of doing that and getting off the drug medications and the bad things that were contributing to their disease conditions. But the majority still haven't. So the majority, and then you've got parts of the world where they're starving in general, just malnutrition. Yeah. So, there's a lot of work to be done. And we're actually part of that journey. We are the educators to teach and share in our different ways. That's what I love so much about coming on with Dr. Maureen and Dr. Lee and you guys and with nutrition, because, you know, we all put it in different ways that will get the message across to somebody. Because I used to say this when I was lecturing for 16 years, there's no perfect teacher. There's no way I can say or teach this where everybody in the classroom will get it, because putting it another way might appeal to some as opposed to the way I do it. And that's the benefit of Redox 5, in my view, in sharing this story.
Lee?
Yeah, I'd chip into that. We, again, back to this educating the mindset. We have this thing in the world where we believe that health is the absence of symptoms. And so if I can make the symptoms go away through suppressing them with a drug, right, then I must be healthy. And you're, you know, I'm not throwing this under the bus, because if I wasn't feeling well for whatever reason, you know, life isn't perfect and none of our lives have been lived perfectly, and we didn't get to choose our genetics necessarily. So we wind up in this life, and we're a subject of our life experience and our health history and our genetics and the environment that we're in and so forth. And so sometimes we need some of these interventions, you know, to keep things going. And aging happens, you know, there isn't anything we're talking about that stops the fact that or takes away the fact that we're going to die someday. We all are going to die someday. So what we're talking about is not living forever. It's about having a health span that matches our lifespan. Meaning I don't need medical intervention to make it to my lifespan. That would be nice, you know, get sick on the day you die and die, right? But, you know, rather than start dying at age 50 and you don't actually, you know, take your last breath until you're 80, that means you spent 20 or 30 years requiring intervention to keep you going. And that's the whole point here. And so if we suppress the symptoms, then we're not healthy. And so just because for example, the glucose in my blood is normalized, the question would be, can it be normalized through living, or do I require an intervention to make it normal? And you can apply that to any other disease that we won't name, right? If I have the disease, it's because the cells weren't working well. And so health really needs to be defined as the ability to have all the normality, you know, of wellness, we'll call it, without needing medication to make it that way. And again, we won't throw people under the bus for taking medication. That's not the point. The point is to re-educate people to realize that health is more than the absence of symptoms. And the idea is not to take drugs just to put out the smoke alarm, you know, the siren, the flashing lights. It's to put out the fire itself. That's what health is about.
Well said, Dr. Lee. Well said.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love what you said, Lee, educating your mindset.
Yeah.
I mean, you need not educate, but continually. It's an educating process.
And
that's what really this is. Yeah. We have to continually do that, because there's so much that I don't know. And it's crazy. So Maureen, any last words? The bionic girl.
Just happy to be back and on the road to healing, you know. Yeah,
Cool.
It's been a journey. Anyway, and health is, right? Health's a journey. So
if I can just say, there's no toxicity, as Anne said. There's no allergenicity with redox signaling molecules. There is no negative interaction with any of your medications. So take all that fear away. There is no risk. There is no risk of overdosing, essentially. So it's just enjoy the journey and enjoy what it will bring your way. Because as I say to people, the ones in the room, you're in the room, that are hearing this discussion on Redox, your life is about to change if you get on the product. It will never be the same again.
That's right.
Well, guys and gals, thank you. As I just wanted to throw in, with my background as a financial advisor, I did it for 30 years. I've seen a lot of people sacrifice their health for saving money.
Yeah.
They lived a very unhealthy lifestyle. They were, doing whatever they do to live it up, and saved a lot of money along the way. And then it was always something happened, a life event happened, and you never know when it's going to happen. We have one of our dear friends that's in the hospital with a head-on car collision that he had 8 weeks ago. Because of these molecules, he's recovering well at the age of 82. You don't know what's going to happen when, but I've seen people sacrifice lifestyle for saving money, and then later when they want their lifestyle, they've lost it, and now they're using all of their money to try to maintain and get their health back. And it's a vicious circle, and that's why we're here. We just love Maureen and Dr. Lee, and when we have amazing guests like Dr. Ray come on and join us, we're so indebted to you, Lee, and all the medical professionals that join us. And next week we have Russell Mariani, who is really fundamentally regarding a lot of the health stuff. So and sometimes it may feel like we repeat ourselves, but I learn something every time. And I've been doing this for 5 years, and we just love and adore this. So
The show.
show. Yeah. So just thank you guys. And please know where to go to get research. We love discoverredox.com. We love redoxmatters.com. And thank you so much, Dr. Osler, for everything that you've put there to help educate us, because it is an educational process. So please, but get back to the one that brought you on the show. Don't go to Amazon to purchase the product. We are, and something we did not talk about this time, but we're going to have some people on soon that will be talking about the business side of this. And don't shoot network marketing, because that's how you got here. You got here because someone loved you enough to share it with you. And that's called word of mouth marketing, which we absolutely adore.
Those that are new, Russell is the gut guy. So
Yeah.
if you want to know a little more about him or hear a replay, even Lee's page has archives, has short takes,
Yeah.
and you can catch, a previous show and be already kind of ahead of, who is Russell, and encourage your friends to invite.
Yeah, and we do this as a paying it forward. Please invite people to come watch this. We're trying to educate people. We're in 33 countries, and our penetration is so minimal, it's ridiculous. We need your help to help share this with the world. So guys, thank you.
Hey, Maureen.
Oh, go ahead.
Maureen, I found an old copy. It was you, me, Jim, and I think it was William. It was like one of our first, from way back when, if you remember William Friedman. And I was like, it's Maureen back in, the year we started that. So that was kind of cool to watch a replay of us back then.
So please come back, join us next Friday with Russell Mariani. Go to Redox Matters. Go to discoverredox.com to get any information and dig in and get back to the one that brought you on the call.
Yep.
So with that, guys, thank you. God bless, and we'll see you next Friday.
Enjoy your
Dr. Ray.
Bye.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.